you have built an entire Shopify app brand, and then you have been inside Shopify too after the acquisition. What changed in the way you think about how Shopify apps are run, how Shopify apps are built and managed?
Time at Shopify was crazy. Really loved my years at Shopify, and I learned a ton of stuff like from basically the first row on how the e-commerce works, how the Shopify is built, why certain decisions were made.
What do you think are the advantages of building a portfolio app compared to just having a single app?
Build independent application as a part of the suite or portfolio.
There are new apps that are coming in which has 0 reviews, 0 ratings, but when you search for a specific keyword or a category term or a pain point, you see those apps ranking on the first page.
Well, I think this is the kind of the way how Shopify App Store algorithm works.
Hey, and welcome to the SaaS Hub Podcast. This is the Shopify App Founders Edition, Season 1. I'm your host, Yuvraj Khevde, founder at thesashub.com, where we curate top Shopify apps across categories and help merchants and agencies find the right app stack. On the show, we go behind the scenes with the builders shaping the Shopify ecosystem. Today's guest is someone who has helped shape the Shopify ecosystem in many more ways. Also, our today's episode is sponsored by the Support Heroes. They help Shopify app founders deliver high quality customer support as they scale. Now, today we are having Justas Galaburda, who is the co-founder of Essential Apps, a company building a portfolio of 10 plus Shopify apps now used by over 250,000 Shopify merchants globally. Every app inside their portfolio carries a strong reputation with stellar ratings, thousands of reviews, and built for Shopify badge across the board. But it's not just Justa's first major Shopify journey. Before Essential Apps, he was one of the founders behind Oberlo, one of the biggest dropshipping apps in Shopify history, which was later acquired by Shopify. And after the acquisition, Justas continued at Shopify for several years before starting Essential Apps in January 2022. So today, we're not just talking about one app. We're talking about how to build companies in Shopify ecosystems, how to think like an operator, and what it takes to build a durable portfolio in an increasingly crowded market. Justas, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you. Such a nice introduction. Thanks so much. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Now, Justas, before we get into Essential Apps, I want to start with your journey. You are part of Oberlo, one of the most iconic apps in the Shopify ecosystem. Then Oberlo was acquired by Shopify. You also spent time inside Shopify after that. When you look back at that journey now, what did Oberlo teach you about building apps for merchants?
Oh, well, honestly, it taught me everything. So even before Oberlo, we were trying to build different applications or different companies, and we kind of did all the mistakes imaginable. So before Oberlo, we tried to build this one company called Ecelio, and we simply thought of ourselves what could be the problem without validating it with anyone. When we behind closed doors worked on it for a year or so, only in the end to realize that no one needed this solution, and then no one needed what we built, and we kind of earned 30 cents totally in the year's time. And yeah, well, once we shut it down, we just had a kind of month of salaries left in the bank. We decided to do something quickly. Some of the folks in our team had experience with dropshipping. They had real problems that we needed to solve for themselves. We quickly released a few applications, one of which was Oberlo. And it all started from there. And when we kind of realized that this is the real problem, merchants really needed that, started working on it. And then we changed everything about how we build our products, and then realized all the important stuff. So yeah, before Oberlo, I had kind of no idea how to build products, and just like kind of by the lucky coincidence, we stumbled upon something, and throughout the years of building Oberlo, learned a ton of stuff actually.
That's a very crazy story. Having 1 month salary in bank, thinking on your feet, trying to solve your own problem. I think that's where most of the iconic apps are born. Someone has some real pain point, and someone decided to do something about it. And I think for the entire dropshipping community, Oberlo was kind of that one single operating piece, which literally helped thousands and thousands of solo app founders go from zero to even millions and dollars in revenue just by using the app. So thanks a lot for probably being in that moment where you probably didn't had money, your previous app didn't work, because if that wouldn't have happened, Overload wouldn't have been born. So again, that's definitely a great thing, because I personally use Overload on a couple of my drop shipping store. I actually started my journey in Shopify back in 2015 as a drop shipper myself. So I know how tough it was to directly source products from other platforms, then manually import everything. Overload just smoothen things out. Now, I have a question for you. You have been on both the sides. You have built an entire Shopify app brand, and then you have been inside a Shopify too after the acquisition. What changed in the way you think about how Shopify apps are run, how Shopify apps are built and managed?
Yeah, so time at Shopify was crazy. Really loved my years at Shopify, and I learned a ton of stuff, like from the basically the first row on how the e-commerce works, how the Shopify is built, why certain decisions were made at Shopify. Um, and I guess from my time there, one thing that really stuck to me, and I believe I've heard Toby mentioning this again in some of recent podcasts of his, that differentiation is the key. So when we were building something at Shopify, um, we always thought that, well, how we can be different, and Toby even put it as, you can be even worse than competition, but you must be different in some sort of ways. So this really stuck to me, and I think this is one of the things that I'm carrying from the time at Shopify, as well as other things like our kind of philosophy on essential apps is to be as closely integrated into Shopify as possible. We want to help Shopify to achieve its goals, to make more entrepreneurs in the world, to make their life easier. So yeah, these are a couple of things that I guess shaped how I look at the product after my time at Shopify.
Wow, that's definitely a great insight, which often doesn't come just by building app, but you had that advantage of being in the Shopify ecosystem itself, not just the ecosystem, but working in Shopify, seeing behind the curtains. Now, when you left Shopify and started Essential Apps in, I think, Jan 2022, if I'm not wrong, did you feel like you were starting from scratch, starting from zero, or did it feel like a second act with a much cleaner playbook? Because now you have seen both side of the worlds.
Yeah, so actually, I left Shopify when my kid was born, and I wanted to spend more time with him, and I had a means to do that. So um, I just like left the Shopify, spending time with my family, which I love. But like in the kind of half a year of time, I started to feel the itch that I need to do something else, that I need to build something. Uh, and ironically, from the very beginning, I didn't know what to do. I just rented out office, sitting there alone, and tried a bunch of different things. I tried looking into crypto, NFTs, all that stuff, doing some blogging. Like nothing felt like it was natural for me, or that I wanted to follow through on it. And one day I simply decided that, well, at my time at Shop, so my background is in UX and product design, and uh, I started as a product designer on Oberlo. But as the team grew, like my main work was simply to oversee the product, manage people, and I wasn't able to do any hands-on work myself anymore. So I just figured that, well, I want to get back to that. I want to learn how Figma works because I haven't touched it for a few years. Um, so simply kind of downloaded Polaris, and from my experience working on Oberlo, I kind of already knew what kind of problems dropshippers are facing, and what kind of solutions they would need. So just for fun of it, I built mm, quick applications to learn Figma. I built a countdown timer application. I love the processes of it, and I just simply reach out to one of my buddies and who's the developer, and asked if they want to uh, develop it or try to build it. So it wasn't really intentional. I just played around, and kind of it naturally drew me back into Shopify and into building applications. This is just a thing that I love to do. And yeah, once we released the application, it started picking up, and yeah, things picked up from there.
No, that's great. Now, most founder, when they think about building an app, they just want to build one app which does amazing for merchants. If I look at the entire Essential Apps journey, it's not just one app. It's a portfolio of multiple apps, definitely going through all the different sections and different processes of an e-commerce journey. Today, you guys have at least 10 plus apps. I think a couple of apps are no longer publicly visible, but I think there are more than 10 apps in the portfolio. Close to 250,000 plus merchants are using the app globally. Was the portfolio strategy intentional from day one, or you kind of just build the first app and then maybe new requests started coming in and then you started building gradually on top of that? Or you were already thinking about, hey, you know what, I really want to build this ecosystem within Shopify where my portfolio of apps is going to be like the single source which talk to each other apps within the system and then also give merchants a better user experience.
Yeah. Yeah, so as I mentioned, like the first step was totally spontaneous. It just happened. We just built it. But once I um, moved all the application into development, I started to thinking about distribution myself and how we will differentiate as an app developer, uh, why someone should use our application, how it should be called, and all that. And then I think I stumbled upon this gap in the market where I decided that this suite of application is something that would benefit Shopify merchants. And I simply put, we still have this 9-point master plan that I put like in the very early days of what could be the direction of essential apps moving forward. And we are currently at like a step 5 or so. So we are in the middle of our journey. We obviously like pivoted and changed some things, but the direction stayed the same. So yeah, I would say pretty early on, we decided that we want to have a bigger suite of applications.
What I've been seeing is in the last year and a half, there have been a couple of studio apps who has been building portfolios. I think earlier it was just about building one app. Now I think people have started focusing on building multiple apps under the same agency name, or maybe they're also using different partner accounts as well. What do you think are the advantages of building a portfolio app compared to just having a single app? And then what are some challenges also around it?
Yeah. So there are definitely a lot of obvious advantages as of like first of all distribution. It's way easier to cross promote your applications for the merchants. Um, you also are able to benefit from shared support team, shared marketing team, and all of that. So there's not a lot of additional overhead for those teams to oversee one or the few applications. Uh, that being said, I guess the challenges are that first of all, you still need each application still needs to be very good. You cannot like half-ass your applications these days because merchants like bar of quality is really high and merchants are expecting a lot. So and while you're building multiple applications, you naturally have a split focus, and you have to jump around, switch contexts, think about different applications. So you really need to have a good company or organizational structure to be able to uh, build independent like applications and as a part of the suite or portfolio.
Got it. Now, I think this is the part where a lot of app founders will care and relate to. When you are deciding whether to build a new app, uh, what are the things you are actually looking at? Is it merchant pain? Is it app store research demand? Weaker apps in that category? Simplicity of the problem, monetization potential, or something else?
Honestly, we look at the mix of everything. So first of all, like our philosophy is also that, and I see a lot of new founders fall for this, is that they reach out to me and say, "Hey, there's no competition in this area. I think I found a gap that needs to be filled." And I always say the same thing, that it's incredibly risky to build. There's no competition because there's no competition for a reason, probably. That's often not a real problem merchants have. So we always look for uh, actual problems that merchants need to have solved. Um, we look for competition. We try to find how we can differentiate from the competition and where we could be unique or what's our advantage. Um, and yeah, we take a lot of things into account. How this benefit merchants, if it's earning them revenue directly or not, like um, also difficulty of development. So there goes a lot of things into this decision on what to build and what not. But basically everything what you mentioned makes a lot of sense, and we look into all of it.
Got it. Now we've crossed the path where you are now deciding to diversify, but there is still a very thin line between whether you need a standalone app or whether this particular problem can be solved by adding one feature inside an existing app. For example, I've seen there are apps who does bundles, there are apps who does upsells, and then there are apps who are doing pre-purchase upsells and post-purchase upsells. To be honest, it could have been one single app doing all of that, bundling the product, upselling it before the cart page, at the checkout page, and after the checkout page as well. Uh, how do you decide whether I just need to add one additional feature in my existing app, or this particular problem or this particular feature deserve a standalone app of itself?
Yeah, so this is often the decision based on also what's the competition is doing, what are the expectations of the merchants, and if we see that our distribution for that application is strong enough for that app to raise uh, at the top of the app store, then this could be like a standalone application. And when you are doing standalone application, you can always focus more on it and make it better compared to someone who's bundling up everything. Um, one other interesting insight I've seen throughout my like 10 or so years on Shopify App Store, that I see the cycles of we see apps built for certain things, let's say post-purchase upsells. And then we want to improve the application, we improve the post-purchase upsells, we start adding additional features, upsells, bundles, stuff like that. And these apps grew to like these ginormous big applications. Then at some point comes the newer players. Things have changed, like strategies have changed. We implement the better post-purchase upsells, or just focus on that, and they kind of overtake the older applications because they focused on one thing, build a newer and better solutions. But as the time goes past, like they also need to expand and build additional features. And so I've seen time and time again apps rising in the App Store, expanding its functionality. Then someone takes one part of that application, comes from the beginning, and builds it and expands, and the circle goes round, 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 I guess.
Awesome. Now, you have been two massive apps. Oberlo is one, Essential Apps is another. I would love to understand more about your mindset. Like, how is it different now? What was your mindset before you built Oberlo? What happened once it got acquired in Shopify? And how you think now when you have exited Shopify, you started Essential Apps, portfolio is growing day by day. Was there a shift? And how has this entire journey helped you grow as an operator?
Yeah, I think one big mind shift that happened is that when I was building Oberlo, I was in my 20s. I had all the time in the world. I loved working, so I was working at least 12 hours a day over the weekends and nights and all of that. I didn't have much experience, but I think that I just was just putting it in hours and failing and finding out new stuff and all that. So I had an energy to push really aggressively. Right now, with Essential Apps, luckily, I feel that I have a bit more experience, but I also had a kid and a family to which I want to spend more time. And honestly, if I would put in like an all-nighter right now, I wouldn't be productive the next week or so, I guess. So um, yeah, the thing right now is that I basically feel that I'm more aggressive during the hours that I have, and I still try to work like evenings and weekends just because I love it. But uh, yeah, right now I have a bit more experience and are able to uh, use my time more efficiently, I guess, and also spend time with the family and all that.
So absolutely. I think that work-life balance, which was earlier just a myth, when you're just working for someone else. But I think being a solo founder, it's very important for me also to maintain it. Uh, and then I think what you rightly said is that the shift is very important, right? In the 20s, you don't care about working hours, you don't care about how much hustle you are putting into the game. But as you grow up, you need to be mindful that if you put in 20 hours today, you probably might not be as productive as you should have been maybe a few days down the line. So I think that's really important. How do you look at risks today, now that you have matured, now that you have had this amazing experience behind you? Do you still think taking risk in this crowded ecosystem today is a good thing?
Taking risk of what sorts?
Maybe venturing out into a completely new category, starting your first app. For an example, when you started your app, you were in your 20s. I'm in I'm in my 30, I mean, literally 40s. I'm 39 years old. I don't have an app on Shopify. So technically, I'm already too late to go ahead and build an app. So similarly, there might be hundreds of others who might be listening to this, who might be thinking about launching their app at this phase in their career when they are probably in their mid 40s, or probably still working and now thinking of launching their own app after seeing all of the massive success Shopify community has been doing. I mean, I think recently Shopify announced they did about $1.3 billion in partner payouts. I might be wrong in the numbers. I don't recollect it correctly, but the ecosystem has been really grateful. It has really helped a lot of founders earn uh, proper money for their family. And I think that's what is inspiring more and more people also to get into app. Every day, close to 300-400 apps are getting created, submitted for the approval process. So just wanted to understand from that perspective, how do you take launching an app, um, and how do you think taking risk today versus, when you were in your 20s?
Yeah, I think as you get older, you get more responsibilities, and you need to be a bit more careful with the risks that you take. But that being said, I really encourage everyone to just try and start. I wouldn't maybe recommend to quit your job entirely, drop off, and go 100% in building Shopify app if you never done so previously. I always recommend kind of slow overlapping, and I've seen a lot of great people who build their applications on the weekends and evenings. And once it started picking up, once they started noticing the revenue coming in, they were able to kind of transition from their full-time job into running the application full-time. And often once you go full-time in your application, it explodes because it gets all the attention it deserves in the first place. But I encourage everyone to just try to build something and to see if they can kind of overlap from the full-time job into building their own app, if that's something that they're interested in.
So absolutely, I think trying is more important than saying what if, right? It's always better you try. It doesn't matter whether you succeed or not, because it shouldn't happen that 10 year down the line you see the exact same idea you were thinking about launching an app. Someone just comes in and makes $10 million in the next 2-3 years, and then you think, what if I would have launched it first? This could have been me, right? So I think that's really important. Before we move to other set of questions, I have this questions. When you're building a huge portfolio of app like yours, what is the driving force that keeps you going forward every day?
Oh, um, people, the people in the team. I think we have a really great team setup that um, each of the application has a dedicated team running it, operating it, and leading it. And like building this kind of circle of entrepreneurs who are building their applications inside essential apps. It's so rewarding. It's so nice to uh, I feel that everyone in the team is in the right place, and we are able to bounce back ideas and think about what's next for independent applications as well as essential apps as a suit. So uh, yeah, this is what uh, really keeps me going, and I'm really happy with the current setup.
No, absolutely. Now let's talk about the Build for Shopify badge, ratings, and app quality, right? All of your apps across the portfolio have a very strong rating profile. Many, not many, I think all of them have a Build for Shopify badge as well. I think it's not really easy to have this kind of high standards, all the apps having Built for Shopify badge and so on. How do you maintain that quality across so many apps? Because you're not just focusing on one, you have 10 plus apps, and making sure you have a stellar 5-star rating, making sure all of your apps are as per the build for Shopify standards. How are you guys managing that?
Uh, yeah, so as I mentioned, like one of the core pillars of our philosophy is to uh, help Shopify and be as closely integrated as possible in Shopify. And this means that build for Shopify is non-negotiable for us. So everyone needs to have it and to build really good application. Um, and yeah, there's a bunch of different ways how we can kind of facilitate that. Uh, One of the things is, again, like one of the benefits of having portfolio of applications is that uh, you can share knowledge between different applications. So once one application figures out like certain requirements for build for Shopify, or that we need to do certain changes and stuff like that, all the other applications can uh, prepare for it in advance and implement it to always stay within like build for Shopify requirements and then stuff like that. So this is definitely helps a lot. And yeah, we also think about support a lot. This is another like core pillar of our success. Um, and yeah, this is where we invest a lot of time and energy into, and kind of have a various ways to keep the quality there high as well.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you because I have worked with multiple apps in the ecosystem. I started my journey as a seller in Shopify in 1st April 2016. Remember that day very well. I walked into the Global Apps office, which was one of the biggest app builders back in the days. That one app itself used to have hundreds of support queries every week. With multiple apps in your portfolio, plus over 250,000 plus merchants using the app, how are you guys managing your support? Like, how's the team structured? How are you guys providing, I mean, round the clock stellar support, and at the same time, making sure you are always getting those 5-star reviews?
Yeah, so honestly, again, I like people who work with us are simply amazing. I think we have a really great team of people who really care about the merchants, and uh, there's a lot of things that like comes into to providing great support. And again, like great support is one of core pillars of ours. We really want to differentiate us as someone who really cares and provides great support. So um, I don't know, like basically all of our customer support people are developers. We don't have like classical tier 1, tier 2 support, and this means that they are able to jump in and quickly solve merchant problems, even if that's not caused by our applications. If our application breaks something in the merchant store, we always happy to help and resolve solve the issue for the merchants and help them out. Um, when we hiring, we always look for the folks who already have deep Shopify knowledge. So because Shopify is huge, like there's so many things to learn about shipping, orders, tagging, customers, all of that. So all of the folks are kind of have a developer background, have a deep knowledge about Shopify. When we invest really heavily in the onboarding, like from a couple of months to up to half a year to really learn everything about essential applications, all the different cases, and then being able to provide support. And then on top of everything goes kind of different systems that help the support team to do a better job. It's like automatic workflows, automatic tagging, how we hand off escalated tickets to the teams of the applications to resolve like any bigger issues or stuff like that. And yeah, I guess put all that together with a bunch of great people who really care about merchants, and this is what you get. So we're really, really proud of the support that we are offering and all the people that work with us.
No, I think that's definitely a great point that you have made. What I feel being in the ecosystem and consulting with a ton of apps and also now talking to app founders and curating it, I think this is where exactly a lot of Shopify app founders are struggling once their app starts growing, providing better and stellar support. You were fortunate enough to find the right people who has the right knowledge and then groom them to give that stellar support experience. But not every app founder is that, what you would say, not every app founder is that lucky to find the right talent. And I think here's, I would love to do a quick shout out to our sponsors today, the support heroes, for supporting this episode. They help Shopify app founders just like you scale support team without compromising on quality, which becomes especially important when you are managing a growing merchant base or multiple apps portfolio. So if you're someone who's thinking about scaling your customer support or hiring one or two additional agents, reach out to the support heroes and I'm sure they'll be a great fit. Now, talking about the Shopify App Store today, every week hundreds of new apps are being added. For merchants, discovery is kind of becoming very hard. For app founders, ranking, visibility is becoming harder. How do you think about app discovery in 2026 or even let's say in 2027?
Yeah, so I think you're real right. It's way more difficult. The increase of apps in the app store to kind of find the right fit. I think you're doing a great job here and then helping merchants to choose the right applications. Um, as of like for app developers, I think the harsh reality is that if you are not in the first page of the App Store, or even honestly in the first 5 or 6 positions, it's really difficult to get some traction and then get discovered. Um, so yeah, things are definitely kind of shifting and changing. Once we were kind of releasing Oberlo in 2017 or so, um, I feel that you could just publish any app on Shopify App Store and you would get traction. Right now, things are way more different and there's way more applications. And you also need to be way better as an application because the competition is way bigger too.
No, absolutely. What I have also seen is time and time again, and I've seen this across community, that there are new apps that are coming in which has zero reviews, zero ratings, and probably just got launched. But when you search for a specific keyword or a category term or a pain point, you see those apps ranking on the first page. At the same time, there are other apps who has been in the ecosystem for let's say 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, have decent installs, have under 100 reviews, but still they're still not ranking for the exact same keyword on the first page. That's still on fifth page, ninth page, 10th page. Why do you think that's happening? Because again, at one point, Shopify says that you need to have good reviews, you need to have merchants using your app, you need to have the right mix of keywords and everything, all of that, right? I think when you have all of those things, you would eventually want your app to be positioned at the first page or at least on the second page or at the higher side. But there are these new AI slop apps coming in. People are using boilerplates, people are using AI to build these apps. Zero reviews, zero ratings. And even if I just do a quick app store search today also, you'd find ton of apps ranking on the very first page, second listing, fourth listing, fifth listing, or at least under 10 listings with zero reviews, zero ratings, zero installs. Why do you think that's happening?
Well, I think this is the kind of the way how Shopify App Store algorithm works. So if you kind of, there are keywords that get a lot of traffic on the Shopify App Store, and those keywords are usually used by uh, or targeted by bigger companies, bigger app developers who already have a lot of reviews and stuff like that. And so for the new app developers, it's really difficult to jump in onto that keyword and then to be discovered through that. But I think if you take a long tail of keywords, so on Shopify App Store, you are able to rank on simply just a finite amount of keywords, because there's finite amount of like characters you can use in your app listing and stuff like that. So if the newer app takes the longer tail keyword or less used keyword and then put it in the title, they will appear higher. The fact is, so the bigger players choose not to optimize for that keyword, or are unable to. And I guess this is just how the algorithm works right now. I feel that also Shopify should probably be interested in, and is interested in helping new app developers to succeed, to not make App Store like a monopoly of few players. We need more innovation and stuff like that. So I feel that Shopify also sometimes prioritizes newer, better applications to rise.
Got it. Now, how should serious app founders differentiate when merchants have so many options in every category? Because if you go today, every category has like 300 apps, and if you just go by keywords, random apps are popping up, even they are not related to that categories on top of the pages. How do you think apps should be able to differentiate themselves today?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, and the keyword here is to differentiate. That's what I mentioned from my time at Shopify, and that what Toby was saying, that you need to be different of some sorts. And there's like a ton of upsell apps, ton of different apps, but how are you better? What specific thing you solve better than all of the other applications? And clearly kind of sharing this information with the merchants, most likely via your like app store images or description and stuff like that. But there are like a bunch of ways to do that, to kind of differentiate. You can build a personal brand if you are in the e-commerce, and differentiate through that, or do any other stuff. But what you mentioned, like differentiation is the keyword here, and I think it's super important to be at least somewhat different and not a copycat. Because one thing I can mention is we have a lot of apps, and this means we have a lot of copycats who basically, I've seen hundreds of apps that copied us one-to-one, and at the end of the day, I haven't seen a single one of them to succeed, because when merchants compare two applications, on the surface they might look the same, but one has thousands of reviews, and you know that if something goes wrong, you'll have a great support that helps you. And the newer application is untrustworthy. You don't know who's behind it. You don't know if that worked for other merchants. So one thing I would avoid as an app founder is just simply copy what someone else did one-to-one, and hope that somehow merchants will choose your application instead of someone who's been in the game longer and then built trust.
Got it. Now let's talk about the AI apps, right? AI has already made it 1,000 times easier to build software. Uh, I personally built like 14, 15 products using no code platforms. 50% of them are already making passive money, right? Not at all in Shopify ecosystem, outside. We are in this age today where today AI can also build full-fledged Shopify apps. And I think that is where a lot of app flooding is happening, because earlier app approval or review cycle was not that long. I think within a couple of weeks your app used to get approved. But today, one of my consulting client, they submitted an app. It took them almost 2 months and 2.5 months, and then we reached out to Liam. We reached out to a couple of folks. They reached out to support, and then had to push like, "Hey, why my apps are not getting a review or a sign and all." I think with all of these apps coming in, the friction has definitely increased. It has definitely made it incredibly easy for no tech founders like me who doesn't understand coding but want to use that opportunity to build their own app, to build their own legacy. What are your thoughts around AI built apps today on Shopify?
Well, I think that, yeah, on the one hand, we can definitely see the App Store getting way more crowded and flooded. And naturally, I think that the quality bar goes a bit lower for this AI built applications. Uh, that being said, I think in the end, merchants should win from that, because it also enables the better app developers to move quicker and ship features faster and improve, and all the apps start to compete way more. Uh, my hopes for the new apps is that system would self-regulate itself, and the bad apps will get downvoted and won't be able to get through. And if someone builds a good AI, like good builds a great app using AI, or even if you're not technical and able to kind of provide a great quality service and improve on the application later on, and get a great reviews and trust from the merchants, they deserved it. And I hope that in the end all the great apps will surface, and all the bad ones will stay behind. So we'll see how this influx of new applications will play out. But this is my bet.
Yeah, I was just trying to crunch some numbers with a fellow friend who's also in the ecosystem. And with the kind of apps that are getting added for reviews and getting approved, we're anticipating. Today, there are about 25,000 apps on the Shopify App Store, active, inactive, all included. I think about 15,000 apps are still active. But by the end of 2027, we are expecting it to grow to a 50,000, and then maybe out of that 50,000 inactive, active, maybe about 25 to 30,000 apps will be active. So definitely there is going to be a huge flood as things are just getting super easy, unless Shopify figures it out, unless Shopify has a mechanism where only the app that really moves the needle stays in the game. I think it's just gonna keep on flooding the ecosystem for sure. What do you think? Like, what part of building a great Shopify app still cannot be automated with AI?
Mm, honestly, I still think that uh, nothing or close to nothing could be fully automated by AI. Yeah, like you still need to, even as a developer, I think to build a great application, you need to understand what AI built, and how it's working, and what are the edge cases, and what happens if the like shit hits the fan and all that. With the support, I wouldn't feel comfortable to like give all our support tickets to AI bot. Like all of our support is AI assisted. None of it is kind of fully automated by AI, and this is by intention. And yeah, and building application, like AI is super powered. Like we cannot imagine our kind of work right now without AI. But on the other hand, like, it also cannot automate at this stage. I don't know, maybe in like as things move so fast, maybe in the few months or a year it will be different. But at this stage, I think you still need to have the understanding of what's the problem, how to solve it, and kind of direct AI to help you do that. But yeah, all of this. And maybe one more last thing to add is that I'll definitely need to get better at this myself. But I think I was thinking how we can differentiate also in the AI era, and right now I'm thinking a lot about building a personal brand, improving on your current brand, and building all of this trust. So I think in the end, all of this will never be able to automate it by AI. Other things will be more and more automated, but these kind of few things will probably stay kind of true.
No, absolutely. I think that the kind of pace the ecosystem is at with all the new features, all the new help, all of these founders are getting in the next few years, I think the winners will be those who are not just building faster, but who are also getting good at promoting themselves, getting their own brand built. Because I think that's where the real distribution unlocks. Uh, and then, yeah, that's what we are trying to do at SaaS Hub. We are trying to curate best of the best app, irrespective whether they are at a zero revenue phase or at $1 million revenue phase. We're just trying to see which apps actually move needle for the merchant and which are better from the other apps in the same category. And if you are an app founder who's watching this, if you have an app which you think really moves the needle, do reach out. Would love to chat with you and get your app curated. Now, you have been in the ecosystem for such a long time, almost over a decade now. You have seen multiple ecosystem shifts, multiple phases across the Shopify ecosystem. What do you think new app founders misunderstand about building on Shopify?
Yeah, I think I guess two core things which I touched upon previously. One is if there's no competition, they take it as a good sign that something needs to be built. I think this is a big misunderstanding. And another thing is not really focusing on distribution because like building an application and then just launching on the App Store was possible. Uh, I don't know, even 5 years ago, probably. But right now, things are a bit different, and with all this influx in the applications, you really need to be thinking about distribution in one way or the other, and really put in work not only in developing great application, but putting it in front of the merchant eyes and getting feedback and improving and repeating the cycle. So I guess these two things would be my answer.
No, absolutely. Uh, what do you think looks very easy from outside when building a portfolio, which actually isn't? Because you have some amazing apps right in the local delivery date, uh, free shipping, AI SEO, CRO split, trust badges, announcement bar, countdown timer, loyalty, card drawer, pre order. You have literally tapped into all the major and hot categories on the Shopify ecosystem.
So what's the question, like what looks easy from the outside and it's actually really hard, right?
If I don't know anything about you, if I don't know anything about the ecosystem as a new founder, if I look at this portfolio, I just see that hey, probably just get into all the hot categories. That is cart upsell, local delivery timer, pre order and post purchase and all of that stuff, and just build an app around it. That's the first signal I get just by looking at the portfolio. But ideally, that's not always the only thing that goes behind managing the portfolio and then growing it, because not a single app in your portfolio has less than, I think, 300-400 reviews. All are 300-400 plus reviews, 5-star stellar rating, and so on. Because launching an app is very easy today. I can use a tool like gadget.dev, build a Shopify app, push it out. But then getting those installs, converting those installs into paid users, converting those paid users into reviews, then retaining them throughout the course of their period and so on is very tough. Uh, what do you have to say about that?
I think you're right, and you mentioned the kind of the right things. I think people usually forgets that we've been building applications for almost 4 years or more than 4 years now, or so, and like it takes time to build a portfolio of this size and applications that are really valuable to the merchants. And more than any development, it takes time to have a great support and to have great processes and stuff like that. So again, getting back to points previously mentioned, like distribution, support, marketing, it's all really important. And I think you always should focus on building one application first, build it real good to get a real traction, and only then you can focus on maybe pivoting to the other application. But ideally, you still need someone to keep working on that one application. Or our apps have a dedicated team, so it's basically as a separate companies within Essential Apps operating the applications. I wouldn't recommend any like a single developer to go and build 10 applications, because even if that becomes successful, you will get overwhelmed with support, and it's really difficult to kind of overcome this first step of becoming successful too. So just start with one application, and then you feel that it's really good, consider if you need to diversify from it or if you want to make it even better.
That's a solid advice. Anyone who's listening to this, if you are a first time Shopify app founder thinking about launching an app, I think the advice just gave makes a lot of sense. Don't just start thinking about building an entire portfolio. Pick one niche, pick one app, build it, see how it's growing. The moment you start seeing momentum, I think that's when you can move to the next adjacent app and then use the existing app's own distribution to promote the second app and so on. I think that should be the right playbook when you talk about building a portfolio. And what you said earlier makes a lot of sense because building a one app is a tough job, growing it is another challenge. But the moment that app becomes a successful project, that's when adding more app becomes much more easier because you already have gone through an entire process. You know what Shopify wants you know what kind of standards your app needs to have. Your marketing becomes centralized, your support becomes centralized, your processes becomes centralized. So literally whatever you did right in the first app, you can replicate the entire system and use the same shared operating playbook for the other apps too. I think that's really amazing takeaway from this particular chat. Now, just as we are coming towards an end for this particular conversation, and we are at a portion which I really love, which is a quick fire round. I have a couple of questions for you. Whatever comes to your mind first, that's what you need to answer. But then again, if you need to explain it, more than happy to take additional time on it. Ready?
Let's go.
Awesome. What is that one Shopify app you admire the most, and it can't be your own app?
uh, maybe a couple of applications. And not apps, but like great founders. So there's Eligius from Tiny SEO and Ericus from the Kaching apps. Both are great friends of mine and really pushing uh, the innovation on the App Store, and on their own apps, doing great things. So both of them are really great.
Nice. Great. Great. Awesome. One underrated Shopify app category.
If you know one, tell me, because I'm not sure. I would want to build in it. I think there's a lot of competition everywhere, but maybe my recommendation here is to look at what Shopify is building and launching, and try to jump on that wave. So there was like checkout extensions, what was a great example, or online store 2.0, where a lot of apps introduced like theme store sections and stuff like that. So maybe look for something new that pops up and jump in quickly. So that would be underrated at that moment. Yeah.
Okay. What is that one mistake new Shopify app founders always make?
Always make. Yeah, I'll just get back to the same thing that I mentioned multiple times throughout our chat. Not thinking enough about distribution, and building something that like there's no problem or to be solved. So this would be my main.
One category you would advise every app founder to stay away from in the Shopify ecosystem?
Reviews. I don't know if you want to compete with Judge Me. They are doing great. Yeah, I don't want to compete with them. So and advise others not to.
Okay. One thing AI will change about Shopify apps forever.
Oh wow. I don't speed. I think the speed is the key thing. Right now everyone moves way faster than even the half a year ago, and you need to be way faster with your development. So the speed will increase a lot.
Absolutely. And the last one, where can people learn more about essential apps, all the apps in the portfolio?
Yeah, so you can check us out on the App Store or on our landing page. I'm trying to be a bit more active on LinkedIn or X recently. So again, if you are app founder, agency, freelancer, or a Shopify merchant, don't ever hesitate to simply drop me a message. I always happy to help every app founder with advice, like no strings attached, and to help them out to succeed with their application. They're building a lot of successful agency partnerships right now. So I'm talking with a lot of agencies. If you're interested, I'm always happy to chat on LinkedIn. And yeah, and for the merchants, we always happy to jump on a call with any merchant to find what they are struggling with. We are right now running a few experiments doing like white glove onboarding and helping to set up the whole essential app suite for the merchant stores to increase their conversions, AOV and stuff like that. So yeah, I think you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to help to anyone's interested.
Awesome. What I'll also do is for our viewers, I'll drop links to the Shopify App Store portfolio for essential apps in the show notes. I'll also drop a book a call demo for Justas and also his LinkedIn profile so that whosoever is interested in learning more about essential apps, the entire portfolio, discuss agency partnerships, understand how to scale and grow an app to the level essential apps have built, can directly reach out to them and have a direct line. Just as this was a very insightful conversations. I think what stood out is that building apps at a scale is not just about ideas. It's about judgment, it's about systems, it's about quality, it's about support, and understanding a merchant problem deeply enough to build solutions that last. For everyone listening, definitely check out Essential Apps on the Shopify App Store and their amazing 5-star all Shopify built for Shopify batch portfolio today. And a quick thanks again to the support heroes for supporting this episode. If you're a Shopify app founder and evaluating adding a new member to your support team, definitely reach out to the support heroes. I'll also drop a link to connecting with them in the show notes. Again, this is Yuvraj, and this was another episode of the Shopify App Founders Edition, Season 1. This is me signing off. Thank you.